Behind me, I have the Tiny Plus Earthship build. I'm coming at you from Taos, New Mexico. This is the gravel pit in the Greater World Earthship community. It's the largest Earthship community in the world, and it's where Mike Reynolds has been experimenting, as well as many other owner builders out here on the Mesa, building off-grid homes, radically off-grid homes that capture their own rainwater, grow their own food, contain and treat their own sewage. They're heated with passive thermal mass principles, and they're just incredible. So we've been working on this project now for, we're talking 6 weeks, so we're getting into the month and a half of just pounding tires. We are exhausted and cranky, and it has been a really difficult run up until this point, but we have hit a crucial point in the build where it's going to take a radical turn. We've finished the foundational walls, we've poured the concrete. What Ron is now walking into is a structure that can receive essentially all of the carpentry details, which are going to enclose the space for the winter, for the weather. Once we get a weather-guarded roof up, we are going to be dried in. So he's going to talk a little bit more about it, but the man, the myth, the legend, Ron Chirillo himself in the flesh.
Woo!
His voice is finally back because the wildfires came in and the smoke just destroyed his lungs. When I first came here, he was whispering.
Yeah.
Now this man is screaming, and we just got through a week that was really tough, had a lot of unexpected twists, a lot of manual labor. We're exhausted, but it's satisfying.
Yes. Yeah, Eric's right. Stage 1 and 2 are brutal, especially with a skeleton crew. We had to pound about 500 tires out here. Most days were in the low 90s. So yeah, as Eric mentioned, you know, that phase is done. Thank goodness. We are in late September. I am expecting the weather to start cooling off and start getting our pace picked up, which is going to be crucial to get it weathered in. Stage 2 was concrete and steel. So all the footings are done. The bond beam footing is signed off by the county. Grade beam is signed off by the county. We're prepped for the grounding rod, which she would have signed off for me as well, but we weren't quite ready. That'll be signed off on the next inspection. So now we're going to move into phase 3. It's a shift in the build cost. So up until now, it's been all going into Eric's pocket. No, I'm just kidding. It's labor. It's all labor. Tires are free, dirt's free, cardboard's free. You know, all that stuff's been free up till now. Concrete and steel, they've still been reasonably priced. They really didn't spike during the pandemic like a lot of other things did. But now we're in phase 3, which is all about carpentry. So carpentry is going to be plating, a lot of plating, which we've already gotten into, concrete stem pour for under the windows. So those are lifted off the floor. So those are prepped. Then we're going to start getting into the fun stuff. I hope it's going to be fun because up till now, not much has been fun. We're going to get into the window boxes, door bucks, and then we're going to get into the plating on top of all that. So I'm really going to push hard next week to, you know, get all of that framing going up into the sky, coming off the ground, up to the sky, and then we can do our plating, and then we're ready to start dropping the roof down on it. The timing's really crucial now. We're going to be moving into October here next week. We could get a snowstorm. We could still see 90 degrees. It's all over the place. I'm going to move all the guys together. My entire crew is going to be single-minded, tunnel vision, focused on weatherproofing this building. And hopefully everybody's ready. Eric and I are pretty tired. We're going to be crawling in on our knees.
On Monday.
On Monday.
Oh my God.
On Monday. Yeah. I mean,
Well, we made it through the week, and let's take a look at what we've done.
Come on in.
You got to see this.
Check it out. Okay, we rolling?
We're rolling.
Are we?
We're back in business. Okay, so welcome into my home. Normally I charge an admission fee, but I'm going to let you in for free today since it's a little rough. So what you have here is 700 square feet of awesomeness. This house is going to like sing. I'm really excited about this. After 16 years of really R&D. Every day with Earthship is R&D. It's
Even
nice.
after it's done and you're living in it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking at it like, ooh, I probably should have not done that.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying not to have a lot of that, but that is going to be the case with every Earthship. There's only going to be a couple guys on earth that are even going to know what those are. The people that are buying a house, moving into it, they're going to not notice a thing. They're going to love it. It's going to love them. We're into phase 3 now. So again, tires, thermal wrap, vapor barrier, water tanks, cooling tubes, pack out. That's phase 1. Phase 2, grade beam, bond beam, signed off from the county. All that concrete and steel inspection, all completed. Now we're moving into phase 3. As Eric mentioned, this is going to be plating. So there's plating right here on the stem wall, plating on top of the grade beam, plating on top of the concrete little mini stem pours, plating on top of the bond beam.
It's a lot of plating.
So, and that's all pressure treated, waterproofed, because it's sitting directly either on tires or on concrete.
Yeah, so we're talking about a lot of pours. So how many cubic yards of concrete do you think we mixed?
So I'd say we have about 3 yards of concrete in our footings. Quite a bit. For a skeleton crew and 2 mixers by hand, you know, I'm not saying that it can't be done. I know a lot of guys probably would have ordered a truck. The problem with trucks is that they want a minimum yard. Typically it's about 5 yards. There's a delivery charge. There's a fuel charge, there's a tax charge, and by the time it's all said and done, here's what I would prefer. See this man's pocket? I put that money right in there. Ding. To me, that's more important than paying the guys to come out with a big truck.
So 30 yards is cubic yards.
3 cubic yards.
Yeah, sorry.
That would have been a truck.
Too many beers.
Yeah,
that would have been a
30
truck.
cubic yards would have been a truck.
This will never look the same as the way it does right now where the roof is open. Once this thing is enclosed, it will forever be a dried-in structure that's weatherproof, that can survive the winter, that's keeping you dry. You could technically, if there was no requirements for a certificate of occupancy from the county, you could live in the structure as soon as you get dried in, correct?
This is true. You know, if you're one of those people that trying to do it, you know, out of pocket, using trash, trying to avoid having a mortgage, you know, you don't want to pay rent or a mortgage somewhere else, it gets a little tricky. Yes, there are some pockets of freedom areas around the United States as well as around the planet. If you're in a pocket of freedom or a reservation or some place where they don't have code, yeah, the minute I get it roughed in, I'm living in it.
Camping stove,
absolutely.
hammocks.
Yeah, I mean, right. So it's rustic, but you're out of the elements. You know, you're not dealing with the bugs.
Let's get out into the sun and walk up on the top.
Also, a really great way to learn is to build one yourself. That's why I created the EARTHSHIP model kit. I wanted to put an EARTHSHIP in everyone's hands. I took everything I learned at the EARTHSHIP Academy and boiled it down into a 32-page, full-color, easy-to-understand booklet, which give you the basics of the EARTHSHIP 6 principles that make them some of the most sustainable buildings in the world. This educational package has been presented at the EARTHSHIP Biotecture Academy and in classrooms all around the world.
So click the link below to learn more. One of the things that Ron's been working on is a retaining wall over here, and
we need to talk about this tire wall. This is not just any tire wall.
this is the only contractor on the planet who is consuming the garbage that he creates on his job site into the building by pounding them with dirt into old car tires with cardboard, plastic, and other things that you'd want to get rid of. We don't have a dumpster on this site.
Nope.
You're looking at it behind us.
That's exactly right. So part of the retaining wall is designed for the purpose of retaining the water tank, the thermal wrap, and all these other things, the components of this building that collects its rainwater but also helps the performance of the building. About 7 weeks into the job, and we have produced exactly that much garbage that has gone to the Taos County landfill. Name one other contractor on earth that doesn't have a dumpster out in the yard, and every week from new construction is sending that out to a landfill. We don't do that.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
All right, we rolling? You can see the can form. It's a mortar mix, no concrete. It's not load bearing. I made sure it was 10 inches high and basically a 10-inch ID interior dimension for this bond beam pour. So what we did was a couple days, we went ahead and used all these aluminum cans, which is really important for us here in Taos County. So Friday before last, Taos County decided to close its recycling center, which is really unfortunate because it took people a long time to get fully trained to start rinsing and separating and then driving all the way down to the recycling center and putting it in the proper bins. And so now all of a sudden that's gone, which hopefully is not forever. But for right now, we used up, a few thousand cans, not just in the pack out, but in the bond beam. It's important to me to see something good happen, whereas right now it's going into the landfill. Now there's also going to be insulation here too. You cannot have a thermal break. You've got R20 coming all the way up from below down at subgrade. But now we've got to capture this so we don't let this outside air temperature or snow or rain or anything change the temperature of the battery. The battery has to still sit at about 55 degrees. And right now, if I was to thermal probe this burial right here, just in front of this insulation in plastic, I would find that temperature to be pretty stable. Probably a little bit warmer just because it's still been pretty hot, low 80s. So I'd have to dig down pretty deep in order to find that high 50, 60 degree temperature, but it's there. That's a fact. That's going to be there, and I need to keep it there because October is coming next week. Then November, December, temperatures are not going to get much over 40 degrees for several months. So this insulation blanket has to be captured pretty much right away. So before anything charges it in a negative temperature way or with water, I'm really thinking about this insulation in the skirting detail while the boys are starting to think about phase 3 of framing.
He makes it sound easy, it just rolls off the tongue for him. He understands what he's talking about, but it sounds like gobbledygook to the rest of us. And for those of you who know how a passive thermal heat storage system works, this is what Ron is referring to. We are talking about not only passive solar, but also the structure itself absorbing temperature. And so, we have almost, I would say, on this build, what do you think that is? 5 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet? So we have 5 feet of battery because the walls are thermal mass. They're made of tires, and so they absorb temperature. They transmute temperature just like brick walls or rock walls or concrete walls. I'm looking at a big concrete bond beam right here, which is thermal mass. I'm looking at dirt, which continues all the way down to the foundation of the building. This is all dirt here. And then now this is actually the perimeter of the thermal wrap, which makes this into a thermal battery. The biggest mistake people make when they're building earthships or any structure of this kind that they think, oh, it's going to be a hobbit house, it's going to be buried underground, any type of burying your house underground, even for the foundation of a conventional structure, which you then put a stick frame on top of a poured concrete foundation, you can mess this detail up and significantly impair your ability to warm and cool your structure passively. This is super crucial. This is a make it or break it moment for you as an owner builder. If you mess this up, you're going to have a huge problem keeping the temperature of this space comfortable and are probably going to be burning some kind of fuel source and have failed.
So next week when we get back together with your viewing audience, we're hoping to show you the front face greenhouse, the interior greenhouse framing, all the plating, all the skirting, all the waterproofing that still has yet to be done up here.
There is much more to go, ladies and gentlemen, for this earthship build. We're closing out a rough week.
Yeah, we are.
That was really, really difficult to get through, but we made it. I can finally drink my beer, dude.
Good drink.
I've been holding this microphone on this beer the whole time.
Well, Josh,
The beer mic. I invented the beer mic, but I couldn't drink because if I did this, it would make a sound like.
it sound right, boys.